I'm asking women one burning question. What's VMS? K-pop band?
VMS stands for vasomotor symptoms, the medical term for hot flashes and night sweats due to menopause.
Oh. If you're heated about being overheated, go to whatsvms.com.
Okay, everyone, our mission is complete balanced nutrition. Together, we support immune function, supply fuel for immune cells, and sustain tissue health.
Ensure with 25 vitamins and minerals, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
Tomorrow on ET, only we're in London with the new cast of The Crown. Plus, we've got your first look at new scenes from the Whitney Houston biopic.
I know how to sing.
She did know how to sing. One thing I don't know how to do, protect my voice. I lost it screaming my lungs out at the MLS Cup final. Congratulations, LAFC. All right, but back to big music news. Rachel Smith joins us from New York once more. What's going on with Keith Urban?
Yeah, Kev, I caught up with Keith to talk about his new Las Vegas residency at Zappos Theater inside Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino.
The fact that it's a little bit bigger, but it also still feels really super intimate in a kind of club way.
Okay, Keith Urban taking us to the club.
Happening now. Not guilty. That's what a jury had to say about a man accused of murder today. We speak with his defense attorneys on why they say this drug deal gone wrong was a case of self-defense.
With Election Day tomorrow, law enforcement concerned over extremist threats and voter intimidation. What we're seeing at polling sites across the country. Next.
More fog and dampness from all this humidity in the air, but a strong, real deal cold front will sweep away that humidity and have a big impact on temperatures. We're going to talk more about that in just a bit. The news at 5 starts right now.
And first at 5, not guilty. That's the verdict a jury returned today for a man accused of killing a teenager.
He and his cousin, who has yet to go on trial, were accused of killing 16-year-old Sebastian Diaz back in September of 2020. Diaz's family says they're distraught and saddened by this not guilty verdict. But Duarte's attorneys told Garrett Berger that the jury did follow the law.
Absolutely. His defense team argued self-defense, calling this a drug deal gone wrong and telling us that their client was along for the ride. The prosecution said Diaz was at a Northside apartment complex to sell Duarte and his cousin drugs. Surveillance video showed them walking up to the SUV Diaz was driving and running off less than a minute later while the SUV reverses. 3 passengers are seen running from the vehicle as Diaz gets out and collapses. One person is seen running back and appears to reach in. Though the defense say no gun was recovered, they do say Duarte saw one.
He saw an individual in the vehicle with a gun. When they made a sudden movement, he feared for his life. He and his family member shot in return, and unfortunately, a young man did die.
Diaz's family sent us a statement saying in part, quote, today's verdict means there is no accountability for the person who murdered Sabby, even though he confessed to being there and pulling the trigger. Our family remains heartbroken that justice was put in the hands of 12 random jurors and justice was not served with the verdict by someone responsible for his death. Now, Duarte still faces a separate charge of robbery in a different incident, and his cousin, Julian Vera, still faces a murder charge. The DA's office declined to comment, citing pending cases. Live in the newsroom, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Garrett. New today at 5, an Atascosa County sheriff is out of a job and behind bars today, accused of family violence. 37-year-old Rodney Wrigley was arrested over the weekend. The Wilson County Sheriff's Office says they recently learned that Wrigley had gotten into an altercation with his family on Friday, and they quickly fired him after less than 9 months on the force. He is charged with causing assault causing bodily injury. That is a felony.
Also new at 5, we now know the name of a man killed outside of a church on Sunday. 24-year-old Lyndon Seymour had just pulled up to that church in the 1300 block of W.W. White Road on the east side when someone standing in the parking lot started shooting. Seymour had 3 other adults and 2 kids in the car with him. No one else was hurt, but he was shot 3 times in the chest. The shooter got into the passenger side of a car, drove away. Police say this was a targeted attack.
San Antonio Police and Crime Stoppers upping the reward for information in a murder case that's been unsolved for more than a year. 22-year-old Troy Lee was killed back in June of last year. He was found with multiple stab wounds at the Hilltop Oaks apartments in the 6100 block of Ingram Road. Investigators now offering up to $10,000 for information that leads to an arrest in this case. You can call 210-224-STOP. All tips are anonymous. Voting threats and election security, it's a combination that's creating uncertainty and renewed fears. Those fears even prompting one worker to add bulletproof vests to his daily uniform.
Yeah, and the threats aren't just physical. As ABC's Rena Roy explains, authorities warn extremists could target election infrastructure.
With just one day to go until the final ballots are cast in the crucial midterm elections, there's growing concern over election security.
The nation is polarized, angry. Growing number of people in our society just don't trust government.
While officials say they are not aware of any specific plots at this time and most Americans will vote without a hitch, experts worry about the ongoing threat to election workers, polling locations, and political officials in an environment filled with misinformation and conspiracy theories. A county clerk in Colorado who helps oversee elections says he wears a bulletproof vest to work every day.
And I have had some incidences in the past where people have followed me back to my neighborhood. That prompted me to start talking with the sheriff about, personal safety. He recommended that I wear a ballistic vest.
Voter fraud, suppression, and intimidation also an issue. 18 cases of alleged voter intimidation at Arizona ballot drop box locations, now referred to the Department of Justice. This video shows people armed and in tactical gear observing or watching ballot boxes there. The DOJ now monitoring some polling locations in 24 states for compliance with federal voting rights laws. A recent Homeland Security bulletin saying perceptions of fraud and reactions to divisive topics will likely drive sporadic plotting of violence.
They've been listening to some of their social media feeds or reading misinformation online. Those theories persist in many cases by some of the very candidates who are running to take over in this year's midterm elections.
And fueling the fire, 60% of Americans will have an election denier on the ballot, according to 538. Republican candidates running for governor in both Pennsylvania and Arizona are among them.
Experts say foreign interference is also helping sow distrust in the federal government. One Russian entrepreneur admitting publicly for the first time that he has interfered in U.S. elections and saying on social media that will continue. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
And don't forget, if you have not already cast your ballot, you've got to do so on Election Day tomorrow. VIA is hoping to take some of the stress out of that by making it easy to get to the polls with complimentary bus rides. All you have to do is show your voter registration card to the driver. VIA says they hope their Ride to Vote program reaches people who have not had reliable transportation. If you're interested, you can plan your trip to your nearest poll using the Transit and VIA Go mobile app.
And tomorrow you can expect all the latest election updates on air and online. We've got crews across Texas covering everything from the race for Texas governor to all the local races here at home. To get our alerts and stay on top of results, just scan the QR code on your screen. Myself and Stefania Jimenez, Myra Arthur will be giving live results on KSAT.com and the KSAT Plus app. So be sure you have that on your phone as well.
Taking a look outside with your traffic authority. 410 at San Pedro. Dry roads, sun is shining brightly. Changes on the way, though.
Yeah, some changes on the way. We've got one little shower out there right now over Stone Oak nearing Timberwood Park. That's all we have to speak of at the moment. But you look at temperatures, 91 Eagle Pass, even some 80s out there, but the 91, that's really the exception. 87 Santa Maria, 83 Leon Springs, Floresville right now at 85. Bulverde picked up 0.3 of an inch of rain from a downpour earlier today. So that was nice to see in Brian's backyard. Humid and sticky out there this evening, and that's going to be the case for several more days. We're waiting on a cold front that's going to get here by Friday morning. That's going to change things big time. Until then, that humidity, not much of a temperature drop this evening, near 70 degrees at midnight, more fog developing. I did mention that morning dampness for a few more days, then the potent cold front on Friday. That's going to give us the coolest afternoon since March. We're going to talk more about that, tell you how cool it's going to be and when it'll arrive and how long it's going to stay in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Adam. 50 miles a day. 50. That's how far a San Antonio man plans to cover on foot to raise awareness for a program he says saved his life. Kenneth Anderlich has battled alcoholism and addiction since he was 14. He was caught in a cycle of recovery, prison time, homelessness, never finding a way to transition into sobriety. That's when he found the local program called Pay It Forward, a Haven for Hope partner. It helps those who've experienced homelessness transition from treatment to sober living.
I believe wholeheartedly that their chances of staying sober are greater when you're put in a position where you're with people who are still on the same struggle bus of sobriety, early sobriety.
He believes in it so much, starting the day after Thanksgiving, he will run and walk an average of 50 miles a day from El Paso to Logansport, Louisiana, all to raise awareness about transitional programs like Pay It Forward. Tonight at 6, we're going to take you inside the Pay It Forward Sober Living facility.
Veterans Day is this Friday, and as Military City, USA, it's a holiday that San Antonio holds very near and dear.
And there are dozens of local organizations that aim to make life easier for our military men and women all year round.
In this KSAT Community Spotlight, Jonathan Cotto takes us inside a new wellness center, making sure that veterans and their families get all the help they need.
Veterans Wellness Center at Endeavors is several things. One of the biggest things, though, is that it's a suicide prevention model.
Endeavor's Veteran Wellness Center is a state-of-the-art facility designed with a comforting approach in an effort of providing a number of wellness services to veterans.
It is a place where veterans can come, their families can come to access care from many different angles.
And some of those angles include restoring and improving the overall well-being and quality of life for veterans and their families, as well as preventing suicide.
Every day, we make sure our clients have the resources to manage what they're going through without dying by suicide. We do that every day.
The services provided here at Endeavors are guided by 6 principles of wellness: economic, spiritual, mind, body, knowledge, environmental, and what Endeavors calls connectedness, an emphasis on a basic but very important human need of togetherness.
If someone wants to come in and just get coffee and that's the way they want to access our center, then we welcome that. If they want to come do a meeting here and use our meeting spaces, we have opportunities for that as well.
And at Endeavors, it's mostly veterans helping veterans.
Just the experience that happens when I talk to veterans here, it's just incredible. The stories that they have. We all have stories to tell, and that is what really makes this place great.
Endeavors provides access to integrated health, mental health, and holistic activities that range from yoga to acupuncture.
That's the joy that I have, is seeing these veterans and getting these services.
Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
All right, mark your calendars this weekend. There's a huge Veterans Fair happening downtown. It kicks off with a charity run at 8 o'clock in the morning. Then at Hemisphere, there will be music, food, vendors, a lot more. It's free and open to anyone. We have all details on our website. Just click on the KSAT community section.
When it comes to the safety of kids, parents are often concerned about toxins in food or medicine or even toys. But what about their clothes? Up next, Marilyn Moritz explains why school uniforms can be just as dangerous.
I'm Myra Arthur here in the newsroom with what we're working on for the news at 6 o'clock today. A district court judge blocked the release of autopsy reports for the victims of the Robb Elementary shooting in Uvalde. Lee Waldman explains what that means for this investigation and how State Senator Roland Gutierrez is trying to fight back on that. Plus, last week, a San Antonio mother was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of her daughter. Now, one of the jurors in this case is talking about finding Jessica Briones guilty and how this trial has changed her life. Erica Hernandez will have that exclusive interview and how all jurors plan to honor the 4-year-old Olivia Briones. Plus,
there's a misconception that this is some sort of strange, off-the-grid federal enclave.
You think of Port San Antonio, you might think of, well, a port, cargo coming in and out. But these days, Port SA is a lot more about transporting ideas than things. In a new KSAT Explains, we show you what happens at Port San Antonio today and how it went from one of the oldest Air Force installations in the U.S. to now a place geared toward robotics, space exploration, and a whole lot more. All that and more today on the News at 6.
Thank you, Myra. A lot of children wear school uniforms to school, but now a new study finds that the fabrics may be exposing children to toxic chemicals. 12 Underside's Marilyn Morris on how to limit exposure to these forever chemicals.
Millions of children wear them, school uniforms. Now, a study in the journal Environmental Science and Technology found school uniforms had higher levels of potentially dangerous chemicals called PFAS than other kids' clothing tested.
PFAS are known as forever chemicals since they essentially never break down naturally. And they're often added to products to make them waterproof, stain-resistant, or non-stick.
PFAS have been linked to health issues, including increased risk of certain cancers, liver damage, and neurodevelopmental problems. Children's exposure is of particular concern. In this study, 30 stain-resistant school uniforms were tested. The chemicals were found in all of them.
Kids wear these clothes against their skin for hours every day, and these chemicals can stay in the body for months or even years. So it's really important to limit exposure where possible.
So how do you limit a child's exposure?
If you have the option, say your school requires a blue polo but not one from a specific store, try to buy one that's not labeled stain resistant, since stain resistant coatings often contain PFAS.
A lot of non-stick cookware also has these chemicals, so you could switch to stainless steel cookware. Also, when getting takeout, check to see if the restaurant has eliminated PFAS from their wrappers and boxes. And if your drinking water has PFAS, use a water filter certified to remove them. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Sky 12 at this hour over downtown San Antonio, 82 degrees, but you can still kind of feel the humidity in the air today.
Oh, yes. You can definitely feel the humidity and the mugginess in the air, and you're going to feel it all the way through about Friday morning. That's when our next cold front arrives, and it's going to sweep it away for the upcoming weekend. Cause some big changes. It's one of our weather headlines here. More morning fog and drizzle. Basically tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday morning, more of the same. That dampness with reduced visibility and some damp roads. Then the potent cold front. We're talking a real deal cold front hits Friday morning. And with it could be a little bit of rain, but I do want to point out today we did get 0.05 of an inch of rain at the airport in town officially. Normally that's not a very big deal, right? But now we're creeping closer to not being the driest year on record. We're not there yet. Still 2022 is the driest year to date on record in San Antonio with 9.31 inches of precipitation, but that now puts us within 0.05 of an inch of 1917. We need another 0.06 of an inch, if you ask me, to at least get us in second place. I don't like having this kind of record in our books, right? 2022, not good in terms of precipitation. By the way, the average month or year-to-date precipitation, nearly 29 inches. We're about 20 inches shy there. Here's a look at radar. And yeah, we had some decent little hit and miss showers earlier today and even some spritzes and sprinkles, but nothing out there to speak of right now. Still one or two could flare up, but it's highly unlikely we'll see much more developing on the radar. The activity right now, western U.S., you see this big counterclockwise swirl in the air. You know what that is? Another upper level disturbance, an upper level low that's digging southward. This is a big one. That's why it's causing more high elevation snow in the Rockies and some rain throughout parts of California as well. And that's going to help develop our next cold front that's going to move into town. That's going to hit us on Friday morning. And I do think there's a shot at rain with that, but not a significant one. But you can see those little light showers to moderate showers we had earlier today. Here's our future cast. We're going to fast forward to tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. Low clouds, fog, drizzle, some dampness, even a few little hit or miss showers here and there. Don't pay so close to the exact placement of these little light showers. Just the mere fact that this high-res computer model is even developing them, because I do think we'll have some of them, just not as many as we had earlier this morning. Then by the noon hour, we start to clear out with some afternoon sunshine. and that sunshine could actually help develop 1 or 2 little pop-up showers tomorrow afternoon. Pretty insignificant and brief in nature. A few hundredths of an inch again. Come on, we're 500ths away. 500ths away of 1917. I'm crossing my fingers. 83 degrees, our current temperature. Dew point is 67. It's muggy. It's sticky out there with that southeasterly wind. Temperatures across the state, 60s in the Panhandle. You get 80s elsewhere. 87 Cotulla, Pleasanton 85. Along with New Braunfels and Gonzales. And tomorrow morning we'll start the day in the upper 60s for most of us. That's 68 degrees here in San Antonio. And then by the afternoon with that sunshine, I think we'll get back into the 80s just like today. 84 degrees are forecast for tomorrow afternoon. And then look what happens to high temperatures behind that cold front. We're talking 56 the high temperature by Saturday. That'll be the coldest afternoon since March 12th. So get ready for a big temperature drop this weekend. Low clouds in place and even a few light showers possible Saturday and Sunday behind that front.
All right, Adam, thank you.
All right, let's go to the AT&T Center now. The Spurs back in action. Kind of hit a rough patch here, but injuries also contributing to all these losses, Greg.
That is true, so others are going to have to step up again tonight. But at the same time, they look to get back on their feet because this is a revenge game. They lost to Denver just this past weekend, so it's a rematch right out of the gate to start their 3-game homestand. And also we come back, San Antonio FC are Western Conference champions and now playing for the championship coming up. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome live to the AT&T Center here in San Antonio, where, as you can hear and see, they're going through their show run before tonight's big game. This opens a 3-game homestand tonight. Spurs play host to the Denver Nuggets in a rematch game as the lights come right back up for us. That's after dropping their 3rd straight game in Denver on Saturday night, 126-101. Now, even though Keldon Johnson led the Spurs at 25 points, right behind him was Devin Vassell with 20, but the Nuggets were red hot from the field, shooting over 60% and are so far unbeaten at home, featured a 70-point first half. Has anything surprised rookie Jeremy Sohan so far in just the first 10 games of his NBA career?
Probably off the court, just like the travel. I think that's what surprised me the most. Just especially the back-to-back. We played a game in San Antonio. 2 hours later, we were flying to Denver and playing a game the next day, which was crazy in my eyes.
All right, tip time is late tonight. 8:30, and we'll have the early highlights for you tonight on the Night Beat. Congratulations to the Spurs' partner in soccer, San Antonio FC, who are now Western Conference champions and will play for the United Soccer League Championship this coming Sunday. That's after they were able to beat the Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC last night at Toyota Field before a sellout crowd, 2-0. Defender, Connor Maloney, who was starting in place of the injured PC after he suffered 3 broken ribs in their last playoff game, finds the back of the net in the 23rd minute for his first USL goal. The Switchbacks had their best shot at the equalizer in the 85th minute, but Jordan Farr is there to punch the ball out of harm's way. Now to extra time, the 101st minute, when Santiago Patino puts it away on this fast break with a goal between the legs of the goalkeeper, and San Antonio is crowned Western Conference champions, who will now play for their first ever USL championship this coming Sunday.
Great timing for Connor Maloney to score his goal. It was amazing. We deserved it. We earned it. Western Conference champions. What makes this incredibly special is that we got to celebrate it in front of the best fans in the league.
And they will play against Louisville City FC Sunday at 7:30 at Toyota Field for all the marbles.
Holding that World Series trophy.
To the victor goes the spoils after winning their 2nd World Series title on Saturday night, Minute Maid Park in Game 6 against the Philadelphia Phillies. It was time to celebrate some more today with a victory parade. It was held in downtown Houston over a 2-mile route where fans could cheer on the Astros and share in the title, a first for Dusty Baker as their manager. More on the Spurs coming up live at 6. Maybe some more look at their pre-show, right? Live at the AT&T Center, Greg Simmons, KSAT 12 Sports.
Yeah, Greg, that was interesting.
Yeah, well, that's nice loud.
Yeah, I'm glad they did that on time for you. That's nice.
Nice preview.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be right back. Thank you so much for watching the News at 5 with us.
World News up next. We'll see you back here at 6 o'clock.